Okay, hello everyone. I hope you can hear my sound.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let me start the presentations. Okay, just a quick check. Is the presentations visible to you guys?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I know it has been a long day. I hope on these sessions that we could bring useful informations and ignite your interest on the VMware Cloud Provider Program. So many of you probably never heard of what is VMware Cloud Provider Program, or in short, moving forward, we'll call this VCPP, right? So the VCPP program itself is been with VMware for at least for the past 10 years, right? The intention is to help our partners to provide cloud services to the market. And today we have more than 4,000 plus partner worldwide, and it's keep growing. So personally, 10 years ago, I was working in one of the cloud providers. So I have been involved in the cloud business since 2010. So back then, it takes a lot of effort to explain to the end customer what is cloud computing, right? How infrastructure as a service works, how to provide SLA, what is VM, right? All this stuff, right? But for the past few years, cloud has enjoyed its tremendous growth, right? Especially during these difficult times, during this pandemic. We see that cloud has become the choice or preference for many enterprises, right? Either to help them reduce the cost during these difficult times, right? To keep them survive in the business, or even to become the options for those enterprises that need to grow faster during this time, right? Because one of the benefits of cloud is for the enterprises to be able to grow or expand their workload quickly, right, as needed. And then because of these times, right, so time to market become very, very key, right? So going to the market at the right time, right, and fast enough is very important to gain the market share. Therefore, in these sessions, we are going to share with you our VMware vision and strategy, and how we could leverage on the VMware technology to build and provide cloud services to your customer. So in this today presentations, is going to be in two parts. So I will do the first part, and my colleague Timothy is going to do the second part, right? So let me go to my next slide. So this is the standard disclaimer. So all these products here might change, or certain product that is the roadmap or development, it will also change, right? So just be aware of what we have present here. So I will say that most of the things that we present here are already general availability. So it's GA and has been consumed by many of our partners. Okay. Okay. So like I said, the part one of this agenda will take probably, hopefully, less than 15 minutes. So I'll go through the VMware corporate strategy and what is our vision to our partner, and then Timothy will cover what is VMware Cloud Provider Platform on the rental and on the managed service provider side, right? So without further ado, so VMware corporate strategy. So I believe if you are familiar with VMware, or you are one of our VMware partner for the past few years, you have been seeing this for a couple of times, if not many times, right? So VMware always emphasized on a few things, right? First, we believe that digital transformation is changing the industry, right? So there will be more applications and solutions being deployed in the next 5 years than the last 40 years. The reason being is because of the adoptions of container, right? The Kubernetes, Dockers, right? These containerized applications actually has accelerated the adoptions, right? And the SaaS adoptions also has accelerated that. So what we are looking going to grow is like some more like advanced analytics, right? Industrial IoT. how to business process automations, right? SaaS integrations, and then self-service experience, right? And then what do you call the next generations of robo? So many things are coming out today, and this is the one that is changing the industry as a whole, right? And what is VMware visions on this? This has been our vision for the last few years, which is uh, when I first saw this probably around 3-4 years ago, and then I saw today this making more sense than ever. Why? Because VMware visions is actually to provide you or the partner and customers to access to any cloud, right? Whether it's being on-prem, whether it's on the telco side, on edge side, whether it's being hybrid cloud, whether it's on the public on the hyperscaler cloud, right? On any cloud, and then providing any applications on it, right? So either it's a traditional VM 3-tier applications, right? The cloud native on container, or even a SaaS applications, and how to access that through any devices, right? So traditionally you will access this through your PC, notebook, right? And then how you access it through your mobile phone, your tablet, right? And then now it's on the smart devices, right? Even IoTs, right? So, and then the most important thing, how to around this or wrap this with the intrinsic security, right? To ensure that when the customer is consuming this, the security is always in line, right? Regardless on how you would access or consume it, is security become a very key thing that we always put in mind, right? So this is our visions. And then from our corporate strategy point of view, our portfolio, sorry, uh, our corporate strategy is we try to actually expand our portfolio, right? Organically and inorganically, meaning that we also acquired a few companies for the past few years. The intention is to accelerate our growth, right? To accelerate how to realize our strategy, right? So when you see we have the three pillars here on the run part, where it's actually based on our technologies, vSphere, vSAN, VCF, VMware Cloud, and then how to manage the environment, right? Based on the virtualized product, and then how to connect on the network part. So we have NSX data center, we have advanced load balancer, we have SD-WAN based on Velo Cloud, right? We have network insight, others products. And not only that, we also realize that the industry is changing, right? The requirement is changing. So we are looking at the Kubernetes part, the container part, right? On how to build, right? So we acquired few companies also in that part. And then lastly, on after all of this, we need to ensure how we can protect everything, right? How to protect the workload, how to protect the accessibility, how to protect the data. So that's why we come with this protect pillar based on our NSX security, carbon black, octane, and secure states, many other things, right? So, okay, so from our strategies, you have this part where it's as a software where you build, but also there's a part where it's consumed as a services, right? Depends on the solution. Some are ideally to be built, either it's on-prem, either it's on your data center or the partner's data center, or it's consumed as a services. And VMware believe on the multi-cloud strategy. Because why? Because today, whether we realize that or not, most enterprises are already consuming multi-cloud in a way, right? So you might have collaboration tool on from one hyperscaler, you might have analytic tool from another hyperscaler, right? So you are consuming multi-cloud in a way. And we see that the multi-cloud or hybrid cloud is the way it will go, right? Because the customer are demanding on it, and it's what best for them to answer the requirement. So that's why our vision is actually to provide any applications on any cloud, right? So how we can provide our customer the options to run the VMware workload on multi-cloud strategy. Okay. As we all know, applications are the driving factors of this multi-cloud strategy, and there are 5 R's on the applications journey, right? So we'll see how VMware try to propose our value, which is unique to that. So the first part is on retain, right? So how to optimize, how to retain the application as is, right? So we are focusing on VMware Cloud Foundation today as the common stack across our multi-cloud strategy. So on either on, is it on VMware Cloud on AWS or Azure VMware solutions or Google or Oracle, IBM or others, or are based on the same VMware Cloud Foundation technology, right? This will provide a consistent stack across all clouds that also enable the customer to easily migrate the workload across on-prem or any cloud that they want to. Okay. And then the next one is actually on rehost or remigrate. Like earlier we said, the ability to move to other cloud, right? To let's say that because of the data proximity, certain workload need to be on one hyperscaler, but for other workload that might be on-prem, and then for certain analytic workload, it will go to another cloud, right? So this will provide the flexibility and the benefit to our customer to choose which is the best options for them. And then by looking at the need to the growth of the applications, right? So the end customer is also looking to re-platform this, right? In a container more in Kubernetes world, right? So this is where Tanzu came in to provide the ability to re-platform the applications. And then the next one is to retire the traditional apps when you are traditionally you are using the T-tier applications, right? But maybe it's too tedious for you to maintain it. Then you are looking on a SaaS model, right? Then you will retire the old application and move to a SaaS model. But how do you ensure the seamless integrations, the seamless user experience for your users to consume those applications? So workspace one become the I will say the pod for you to combine everything, become the platform for you to merge all these applications into one single platform. Be able to you to provide a single sign-on and then manage these applications easier for your IT to manage. And the last one is actually to refactor, right? So to rewrite the application using native cloud technologies. So let's say for certain analytic things, you might want to rewrite your application into the native cloud to leverage on the native cloud, the hyperscaler power and benefit, right? That's probably one of the options. And we also have Tanzu editions for you to do so. Okay. And what is our visions for our partners, right? So the VMware visions to the partner. So we want you to be the one-stop shop for the customer looking for whichever cloud that best address their needs, right? So this is our visions and our goals. So we expect this to be delivered in a combinations of asset heavy, asset light, or depends on the needs, right? So if you look at this, the enterprise customer at the top here, we are expecting the cloud providers becoming the one-stop shop for all the customer requirement, right? So, so the key message is the VMware partner has become the center of this, and then whether the solutions or the services is being provided on the partner data center, right? Or is it being provided on the end customer data center? Or is it be provided on the edge locations or even on the hyperscaler? So regardless of where it's being located, we expect the partners actually to be able to monetize, to differentiate these services and providing managed services or professional services, right? Across all these clouds or locations, right? and being the provider for SaaS and PaaS. But the key is for our partners to become the strategic advisor for the end customer, right? This will create the stickiness between the partner and the end customer, right? And the partner can truly become the advisor, the trusted advisor for this journey. Okay, and how to do that? How to achieve that? So first, the partners need to enable a common operating models to improve the efficiency and the reduce cost, right? So because we are looking at the multi-cloud or hybrid cloud story, providing a common operating model, it's become very important, right? So this will build the trust on our customer that they can leverage on the technology, right? They can either is it on a private or an on-prem environment, or is it on the public cloud? So it will actually leverage on the same technology. And for you as our partners, uh, it's actually you can utilize on the same skill, same people, same process, same tools for monitoring, for management, right? For automations, orchestrations, right? It's all the same tool set that you are using across these multiple clouds. And as a cloud provider, right, we are looking at the evaluations landscape that across this year. So first, we'll see the partners becoming the cloud pillars. I think this is where it mostly are for the past since probably 10 to 5 years ago. All our partners, VCP partners, are cloud builders, meaning that they will build or you will build and operate your own VMware cloud services. So you will invest in the hardware, and then you probably rent a data center space, or you own a data center space, and then you provide the cloud services using our software technology, right? And then the trend is also moving to a light asset provider, where some of the partners, right, they don't want to invest in the hardware anymore. They want to leverage on this large hyperscaler that providing VMware solutions, or some providers that want to go regional, want to do a geo expansions, right? Let's say they are somewhere in the US or from Europe and they want to grow to Asia. They don't want to invest in the hardware data centers. Then they become the asset light provider in this region using our multi-cloud solutions based on VMC or Azure or others, right? And the next is they become the MSP also, right? So building the services using the MSP solutions for native cloud, right? Focusing on operation, focusing on cost, right? So this become the also a model, right? So our job at VMware for our cloud providers is to ensure that we enable you on either of this journey, right? So the way we see this, right, the VMware cloud provider partner of the future is a cloud builder, is offering a managed services on the hyperscaler, is offering managed services on top of the native public cloud, right? So to be able to become the ideal or the successful partner, ideally, you will have something spanning across these three segments, right? That will be the ideal state. Okay. But again, we need to start from somewhere, right? So what we have on the VMware Cloud Provider platform is actually to enable the cloud provider to capture business opportunities, right? So and you can do this in the phases that you choose to, right? So let's say for start, you might be the cloud builders, right? So you can invest in the in your data center or in the customer data centers, right? Depends on the requirement, and then you build the stack on top of it, which Timothy will go through later, or you can become the asset-light providers, right? Leveraging on the hyperscaler, right? You can even mix between the cloud heavy and the asset-light and the next-gen MSP, right? So The idea is for you to leverage, regardless of the endpoints or location, you leverage on the technology and the platform, and ultimately you will build solutions for this, right? So either these are public cloud solutions, a multi-tenant cloud solutions, a hosted private cloud, a DR as a service, right? VDI, desktop as a service, right? So a lot of these are being seen as a demand from the end customer, especially during this pandemic time, right? Because they need to ensure how their users are able to continue the work from home, but not sacrificing on the security or compliance that they need to maintain, right? So what we see is when you build a multi-cloud foundations, right, for the next generations managed service provider, usually what the partner will do is you will build on the core infrastructure services, right? So either this is on-premise cloud, either it's a hybrid cloud, either it's a multi-cloud, right? You will provide some kind of core services, and then you also need to provide the multi-cloud networking and security to ensure that regardless of when the end customer is consuming certain cloud, the security is always being transparent to either of other cloud, right? So the security can be maintained across this multi-cloud environment. And then we're talking about the distributed microservices, right? So how to put certain workload to the right cloud based on its needs. Right? And then, of course, we expect the partner to provide value-add services on top of this as a managed service, right? Either let's say security as a service, database as a service, or many other services. And the trend today is also looking at DevOps, right? How to provide this to the developer world, and then ultimately providing the end user experience, right, across devices or apps. Okay, this will end my sections. I will give it over to Timothy. I will stop my share now. And Timothy, you ready?
Yep. So Stephen has talked a bit about the general strategy and where we're going in terms of the vision. So now I dive a bit more specific on what exactly we're offering inside our VCPP program. So we have two main models. We have software, which is VCPP, or another name we use for it is also rental. And the other model we have is services, which is the MSP model, which I'll go through in detail now. Yep. So, but first of all, let's step back and let's look at this product. So this product is basically the foundation of everything inside our VCPP catalog. This is the platform in which all the services, all the solutions originate from. This is called VMware Cloud Director. So what is it? Basically, it's a unified management platform for all cloud providers to actually perform tenant management operations on their own cloud. So for example, say you have a VMware environment that you own. It could be an on-prem environment. It could be your own environment. It could be AWS. It could be other clouds. Well, what Cloud Director does, it actually serves as a management platform on top of these VMware environments. And you actually serve as a platform for both the providers and the tenants to use. The providers can manage the tenants through several features such as multi-tenancy, dividing up the infrastructure to be multi-tenant, metering and monitoring to be able to have a clear view of how the tenants are using, and so on and so forth. There's many other things. And lastly, the most important thing is that it is the service catalog. So what the provider can do, they can provide several services such as DR as a service, cloud migration as a service, cloud marketplace as a service, etc. So any of these services can be directly provisioned in Cloud Director. So the provider can, let's say, provision the service, and the tenant can actually self-service themselves. They can go inside the Cloud Director as a tenant and they can see the services the providers have provisioned for them. So that is really the power of Cloud Director. It is meant to be this one-stop shop, this one-stop unified platform for everything VMware, for the tenant to consume and for the provider to manage. And this is just a cool drawing which shows exactly what is our vision with Cloud Director. We want it to be able to provide all the services that your tenants will need, whether it be simple infrastructure as a service, whether it be advanced networking, whether it be storage, application services, management services, monitoring. All that is meant to be natively inside Cloud Director. Okay, so now we know what Cloud Director is. So how exactly does it work? So what I'm about to show you is basically something that most our cloud providers go through. This is how their journey will go like. So first, a very simple setup to start with is basically this setup. So the provider will have basically one data center, and you have maybe a few clusters of vSphere. Maybe you have one cluster for vSphere to be a shared environment, one cluster in vSphere to be a dedicated environment. But he will be able to manage all these different clusters through Cloud Director. And he'll be able to offer VMs, basic VMs, IaaS as a service, depending on what SLAs he wants to give his separate customers. He can configure that in Cloud Director. Whether for example, the bonds, this bonds tier will have maybe less reservations or less storage policies and all that. And you can configure all that in Cloud Director and slowly adjust how you want to tier your VM offerings. Yep. That is so-called phase one, the most basic offerings that cloud providers will start with. And then we can move on to phase two, which is basically extending it to another site. So the thing is, good news about Cloud Director is it's actually capable of managing both sites from the same interface using the same management principles. So you can do things like you can migrate VMs from one site to another. You can perform disaster recovery from one site to another, or using a Cloud Director and using the solutions, our VCPP solutions that are integrated into Cloud Director. And taking it one step further to phase three is the dedicated on-prem. So this is to say that this for providers who wants to actually offer managed services to the customer themselves to actually get the servers inside the customer's environment, install the software, maintain it for the customer themselves. This is the additional offering they can expand. So they have another so-called cloud they have expanded to. And lastly, the last phase is of course the move to public cloud. So you can see here that your public cloud such as VMC, AVS, GCVE, those are the current partnerships we have. Those are the current offerings we have in VCPP. So what this means is that customer will have access to different environments, different clouds. They can access to the public cloud, which is the service provider's cloud. They can access to their own on-prem cloud. They can have access to the hyperscalers clouds, like AWS clouds, and so on and so forth. And all these can be managed under a single interface and under a single hybridity connection using a Cloud Director and our various VCPP solutions. So this is the sort of the end state of the cloud offerings that we want our cloud providers to provide. Yep. And of course, you can package all top of services on top of there, which are all like fully multi-cloud. So you can package services according to our VCP solutions, such as IaaS, Kubernetes, app monitoring, UEM, professional services, etc. So the hybrid cloud is the foundation. What really differentiates you as a cloud provider is the services you provide, depending on your specialties and what VCPP solutions you want to integrate into your cloud. So let's go through what exactly is available in the VCPP program. So first is the software, which is, we call it VCPP Rental. You might hear it by either VCPP, you might hear it by Rental. They're basically the same thing. It's VCPP Rental is this model. So this model is here. So this is the following the cloud builders. As Stephen mentioned, there are three types of cloud providers. So our VCP rental model is following the asset-heavy type of cloud provider. So this means that products under the VCP model, or rather VCP rental model, will actually be fall under software that you install in your data center itself. So you procure the hardware and we provide the software. That is the VCP rental model. So you can see here that there's basically the basic software like vSphere ESXi, vSAN, NSX, and maybe VMware Cloud Foundation if you want to get it. And there's many other familiar tools like VROps, VRNI. But let me take you through some of our newest, most updated offerings that you may want to consider as well. So recently, we have actually acquired RV Load Balancer, and this is quite a powerful load balancer. So previously in the past, our networking NSX stack, we had a particular load balancer, native load balancer, but now that has gone away. Now we're replacing it with this RV Load Balancer. So this RV Load Balancer is capable of many advanced features. Most of our providers see things like global traffic management, which is basically load balancing across multiple regions, and container ingress services, which is the ability to load balance containers alongside your VMs, and many, many more. So this is one of the so-called advanced offerings that we have recently integrated into our stack. And another that is popular with our cloud providers is object storage. So this is with partnership with another vendor called Cloudian. There's a logo over there. And what they do is basically provide object storage as a service. So that now the market is moving towards object storage as one of the main modes of storage. So there are plenty of use cases available. And this is a very, very popular offering with our cloud providers, as this enables them to easily differentiate their cloud by offering object storage. Another thing we have is VROps, vRealize operations. Basically, it's just monitoring, providing monitoring to the provider and the tenant, depending on how you want to package it. So it provides monitoring of your capacity, things like networking, storage, compute, as well as providing a brief high-level analysis of where your capacity is going and what is needed to right-size this capacity. And lastly, one of our most exciting offerings is the VMware Tanzu portfolio, which is basically a portfolio which includes all of the container-related, application-related offerings. So we are divided into three categories because there's a lot of products under here. But first is build, which is to enable developers to actually get the tools needed to develop the applications. Run, which is this Kubernetes IaaS capability. And manage, which is to manage your Kubernetes clusters across different environments from a single interface. So that's the most popular offerings of the VCP rental. So next, talk about MSP, which is the asset light. So as Steven mentioned before, this is for cloud providers who don't want to invest in their own infrastructure. This is for cloud providers who want to move to the asset light model, which is services delivered from VMware Cloud. So that way you don't need to invest in your own infrastructure. And this is really tying into our multi-cloud vision. So we hope to see more of our partners move to MSP as time goes on, because MSP asset light is sort of like what we want our cloud providers to build towards eventually, as they'll be able to dip their toes into multiple clouds and be able to offer services the same consistent, same VMware services across multiple environments, whether it be public cloud, on-prem, or cloud provider data center. So diving deep, we have our cloud director, we have our MSP equivalent of cloud director, which is cloud director service. So you have your normal cloud director, which is sitting on your data center. And then you have a cloud director, which is sitting on our VMware clouds, our AWS clouds, our GCP clouds, etc. So this is a way you can actually unify these two interfaces and manage both on-prem and hyperscaler cloud with one cloud director interface. Yes, so this is one of our offerings. We have VMware Cloud on AWS. We have more clouds in the making. We have Oracle, we have Azure, we have Google, and we are slowly working to expand our public cloud offerings, hyperscaler cloud offerings on VMware. But as of now, AWS is the most mature. So that's why I have this slide open now. So VMware Cloud AWS is basically, and this applies to all our hyperscaler cloud offerings as well. It's the same system. So we have our SDDC, our vCenter, our NSX, our vCenter, all in this customer data center. And we have another SDDC located on AWS infrastructure over here. And then this one is located on AWS, is managed by AWS, or rather is managed by the VCP. And then we'll push out updates, we'll maintain it, we'll spin up the VMs for you. And you also can connect these VMs to native AWS services as well. So this is the very unified interface. You can see that everything is VMware. It's just that it's now on hyperscalers as well. And if your customer is worried about migrating to cloud, fret not, because tool, VMware Hybrid Cloud Extension HCX, is a tool that you can use to actually migrate from VMware Cloud to VMware Cloud. So this is advantageous because you don't need to do refactoring or any architecture planning when you want to migrate to public cloud as usual, because with VMware, the environment is the exact same. The VMware environment you're getting on-prem is the exact same as the VMware environment you're getting on the hyperscaler on AWS. So the refactoring and migration cost is almost negligible. And using this tool, you can actually migrate seamlessly from a vSphere on-prem to a VMware cloud. So don't worry about that. And to unify all these clouds together, we have this tool called Cloud Health, which is the costing and optimization tool. And it's able to provide visibility, provide automation analysis, and provide policy governance across the utilization of the infrastructure across all your different clouds. And another offering we have to add on to this asset light is Binabi Application Catalog, which is basically a free catalog we provide, similar to a marketplace like AWS Marketplace or Azure Marketplace that you see on hyperscalers. This is the VMware equivalent. And we offer many well-maintained application packages or pre-installed application images for developers, providers, operations to use, run, and be governed. Next, we have SD-WAN. So SD-WAN is another offering that we have. So basically, it's software-defined networking. We aggregate all your different links, private MPLS, internet broadband, wireless, into one sort of unified management interface. You can also leverage on our NSX SD-WAN gateways that we have spread across the entire globe in order to optimize connection. And we are also Workspace ONE, which is the unified endpoint management system. It's for devices. So you install it on a device, whether it be this for organizations that want to manage their devices. So things like computers, laptops, phones, and whether you want to download whatever application on it, be it Microsoft Word or Dropbox or whatever you want your employees to have, and whether how you identify your different users and assign the correct permissions. All of that is managed within our service on the cloud, VMware Workspace ONE. And we also have our Horizon Cloud service. So Horizon is available on-prem as well. but it's also available on the cloud as well. So in the sense that you don't need to spin up an entire infrastructure for your Horizon, you can actually host your Horizon desktops in the cloud. And this is actually getting really, really popular nowadays because of the recent COVID restrictions. So Horizon is gaining traction amongst our providers. So basically, with this Horizon MSP offering, you can offer the Horizon on any VMware managed public cloud, which is the clouds that I mentioned earlier, Azure, Google, AWS, etc. And yeah, there is pretty much the highlights. There is many, many more of in the catalog, but this is just the highlights we have. So to summarize everything, this is our main platform. So we start from asset heavy, and we slowly move to asset light for next gen MSPs. That is what most of our cloud providers, that is what most of their journey is like. So what are the next steps that we usually advise our new partners if say a partner were to join this VCPP program? Well, firstly, we just build a base VMware platform. Basically, the basic stack is basically NSX, vSphere, vCEN, and you put Cloud Director on top of it. So that is the basic VMware stack. And you get it validated with our global team. You can get the VMware Cloud Verified badge as a marketing tool. And with that basic components, you're already ready to actually start selling VMware Cloud. The next step to differentiate your cloud, once you've figured out IaaS, you can upgrade your cloud offerings. So I've already mentioned a few of the specialized solutions that we have in the catalog. So things like disaster recovery is the most basic one. Object storage, monitoring, containers, advanced load balancers are some of the popular ones that providers will actually use to upgrade their cloud. So yeah, so with that, you can upgrade your cloud, but for phase 3 to upgrade even further, move to hybrid and multi-cloud. So I've explained before that we already have a host of hybrid and multi-cloud solutions in our VCP catalog. So if to sort of like differentiate yourself from hyperscalers, because this is a way to do so, because hyperscalers are multi-cloud. Now VMware has multi-cloud. So you can take this into consideration as the ultimate end goal. This is our vision for cloud providers to eventually move to this state of multi-cloud and be able to offer traditional VMware services, consistent and reliable VMware services across all VMware multi-clouds, no matter where they may be. Yep. And yep, there is the end of my presentation.